It's alive! The Power Zone Sports Podcast is back. After a long delay and a long time away, the podcast has finally made its grand return. And I am your host, Joseph Ashcraft Jr., and my website is pcnsports.com. And thank you so much for being with me on this journey through the world of sports. A lot has happened since I went away. Became a college student, decided just graduated with honors, got a bachelor's degree, so now time to find something else to do. And so we'll see if we're any good at this YouTube thing. And so conference finals are underway in the NBA. Let's get started. And the Oklahoma City Thunder are up 2-0 in their series. And as I record this, the Pacers and Knicks game just wrapped up, and the Pacers are up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals with their win against the Knicks. The first two games won by the Pacers in New York, and the Knicks now have to go on the road, being down 2-0, 114 to 109, the final score of the game. And so the Pacers, and of course, Tyrese Halliburton. It was a back and forth third quarter, but the Pacers just pulled away late. And what a win for the Pacers. And Pascal Siakam was on the Toronto Raptors squad that won an NBA title. And he's trying to will the Indiana Pacers to another NBA championship. And so we talked about that. Will the Thunder come back? Will the Knicks come back and win this game, win this series? That's going to be very tough since the next two games are going to be on the road for the Knicks. Anytime you can steal one game on the road, it's impressive. Two is just about insurmountable odds to overcome. And so we'll see if there are any chances for the Knicks to come back and win. I think the stat that I saw on the screen said teams that lead the conference final 2-0 have a 76 win and 6 loss record of all time. So that's pretty insurmountable odds for the Pacers right now at this moment. So we will see what remains to be done there. But that being said, now on to the Diamond, and a huge return in Atlanta for Ronald Acuna Jr. Ronald Acuna Jr., his first return in over a year, and first pitch he sees right down the middle, bam, a home run in his first at bat on the first pitch he saw. And it's always good when baseball has a superstar back, and Ronald Acuna Jr. is a superstar in every sense of the word. So welcome back, Ronald Acuna Jr., as the Braves will certainly welcome him back. The offense will certainly welcome him back to the lineup. Remember, the Atlanta Braves won the World Series without him in their lineup. And the Cubs and the Reds were playing in Cincinnati Friday night. And, of course, Pete Crow Armstrong, he drove in 6 runs batted in, including a grand slam home run, as the Cubs outlasted the Reds in Cincinnati. Final score in that game ended up being a 13-6 final score and a win for the Cubs on the road in Cincinnati. Cubs have been playing really good baseball right now, and they've just been playing fundamental baseball, getting on base, stealing second, moving runners over. Cubs are very fundamentally sound at the moment, and they are playing really good baseball. We'll see if this keeps on going forward here. But it's just been very interesting, and we will see how that turns out. And one of the things that I did talk about, I wrote a paper on my senior year. My senior seminar paper that I wrote was on the history of the Negro Leagues in baseball, and decided to write about that just because, one, it's very not well known, and two, it's it's an interesting thing. And one of the things I always have believed is that baseball history is American history. And yes, the Negro Leagues were founded on a racist gentleman's agreement because they didn't want black players to play baseball. But eventually, black players like Jackie Robinson would break through and they would show that they did belong in the major league. Jackie Robinson not only was the first black player, he played 10 seasons for the Brooklyn Dodgers, and he only retired when the Dodgers moved from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. And other black players, like my favorite Cub of all time, Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub, 512 career home runs for the Cubs in his 19-year career with the Cubs. And a man who I wrote in my paper as the perfect baseball player, Willie Mays, 660 career home runs with the San Francisco Giants, a 25-time All-Star with the San Francisco Giants. And the final athlete that I believe I wrote about in my paper was hammering Hank Aaron, 3,000 hits, 755 career home runs. Of course, April 8th, 1974, when Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's home run record, career home run number 715. And he would hit 40 more home runs. And before hanging it up and having one of the great careers of all time, Hank Aaron, without question. So we talked about also players like Josh Gibson of the Homestead Grays, who is credited with 73 and over 70 home runs in a season multiple times. And his Hall of Fame plaque records Josh Gibson's having over 800, almost 800 career home runs, which, if that's the case, he would have broken Hank's record, the Babe's record, earlier than that. So, but Josh Gibson ended up passing away in 1947 from a brain tumor 3 months before Jackie Robinson made his debut in April 1947. So it's a travesty that these players were not given an opportunity to break through. But one thing Major League Baseball did to try to right that wrong is they are now acknowledging many Negro League records as Major League records. And so it's very fascinating to see that mark is now being given the recognition that it rightfully deserves. And one interesting thing that I saw was that Jackie Robinson, when he passed away in 1972, one of the things that he wanted was for an African-American manager in baseball. And when Robinson passed away in 1972, that request had not yet been fulfilled in baseball. So it is something that now, the game of baseball owes an eternal amount of gratitude to Jackie Robinson. And of course, every April 15th in Major League Baseball, every player wears 42 as an act of gratitude for Jackie Robinson and all that he went through for the game of baseball, and all that he went through to help make society better as well. Because it's very interesting to see how baseball was on the forefront of the civil rights movement before the civil rights movement became an active movement in the United States. And so it's something that is really fascinating, and I'm really glad that I got to write about it, and I'm really glad that the paper was a good paper to write on. Maybe I'll release it. Maybe I'll post it one of these days. But I really enjoyed writing it. I thought, really want to thank the museum, the Negro League Museum in Kansas City, for their help with me on writing it. Really was a fascinating look at a time gone by. Of course, it was something that to see that that there was even a time when the Negro League started to lose talent because Jackie Robinson, because players like Ernie Banks started to make the jump to the major leagues. That there was a time even when there was a woman, Toni Stone, who played in the Negro Leagues, and there was even one one time in the Negro Leagues when a white man pitched in the Negro Leagues as well. So it's fascinating. That type of history is not really known, not really well known, not really talked about. So that was why I decided to bring it up in my paper and talk about it. And certainly would have been more fun than writing about the Romanov Empire. You have to be a real history buff to understand that one there. But that being said, I am proud of the work I put in. I am proud of my bachelor's degree. We'll see what the next steps are. And thank you for listening to my podcast. And let me go ahead, and before I forget, let me go ahead and plug we have a sponsor now. We do have a sponsor. And I'll go ahead and I'll give them their just due because they deserve some recognition. Because go to swiftenergy.gg, and if you type in the code Cup of Joe, swiftenergy.gg, and the code Cup of Joe, you will unlock some savings for this for energy drinks and whatever you may need that they have available. And so I thank everyone for listening, and I appreciate your help. And I really wanted to bring the podcast back. I hate that I had to put it away, but the grades were more important. Graduating was more important. And don't know what the next steps are quite yet, but we'll find out what they are. And thank you to everyone who helped me along the way. Thank you to my professors. Thank you for the great gifts, everything that happened that they gave me when I walked across that stage and afterwards. So it was very nice. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Have a great rest of your day, and have a great week. We'll see you next week, hopefully. Take care. Bye.